All right, ladies. So our subject is vulgarity. It's subjective. It can be what can be considered vulgar to me, might not be considered vulgar to you. So ladies, what is vulgar to you?
Well, I think, okay, so when we talk about vulgarity, it's lack of sophistication and good taste. But what is good taste, really?
Even those two words sounded like subjective to me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sophistication and good taste. I think that when it deals with, when I think vulgarity, I think of something that's obscene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were talking about comedians.
Yeah.
And stand-up comedy, and how I think that a lot of times, unfortunately, to me, unfortunately, a lot of women comedians always resort to obscenity.
Yeah.
And vulgarity. So for me, I guess it would be vulgar when it's not needed. Okay. When you like go off the limits and cross the line, which is okay to do that, but in order for you to make your point, if you don't really have to do that, it becomes vulgar.
I can understand that. I can understand. I mean, I've done stand-up comedy, and most of my stand-up sets are quite vulgar. And I don't know, for some people that may be easier. You know what I mean? Amy Schumer or whatever. Like, some people it may be easier to them to talk about that. Sometimes it may be that's what their niche is or that's what comes natural. But I think the line for me, because I'm a very vulgar person in comparison to what other people consider vulgar. Right. I would assume the line for me is basically when the other person doesn't have a choice. So if you bought a ticket to my vulgar stand-up show, then you can hear me beep, beep, beep. But if you didn't buy a ticket and I'm on the side of the road screaming obscenities at you,
that's not cool.
That's not a choice that you had, and that makes it unfair.
But that's very hard for you to control.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, everybody's saying everything that they think, everything that comes to mind, and everyone is so offended by everything.
Yeah, but that's not nowadays. That's the freedom of speech since the beginning of America. So,
people being offended is nowadays.
I think also, I think people have gotten, their skin has significantly shrunk. People have thinner skin. Like, I feel people with more, you can say anything, someone gets offended. It doesn't matter. It could be the nicest thing. Someone will get offended.
And that comes to choice.
Right.
You can choose to go and listen to that stuff and get offended, or you can choose to not listen, or you can so you don't get offended because you know you would. But that's a choice.
Have you ever done something that caused chaos or people thought was offensive? Because on social media.
Yeah, I mean, on my social media, I got a pretty big following, and I mean, again, anything like, especially if I put pictures of myself naked.
We have one actually.
Actually, let's do that one.
So that picture is artistic.
Everybody in the.
So, what did you get any like response?
Did I get any response from that? Holy smokes, man! I mean, at one point I had to stop reading the comments. I was gonna disable the comments because people were going in. And the funny thing is, like, they were fighting amongst themselves. So I grabbed my popcorn and I started watching it. No, because they thought like this is the thing, like, because what you didn't see there is like the picture came attached with a quote about God, right? But my whole thing is like you come to Earth with nothing, you leave with nothing. So enjoy it. You know, God gave you all these gifts to go into the world and use them. Men, they're like, don't quote the Bible if you're gonna be naked, because Adam and Eve were naked, right? I'm just saying, the modesty, you can't be modest. What happened? Why do you have to be naked? I don't understand why you gotta talk about God and be naked. It's like hit and hit and hit and hit and hit, and I'm like, look in the mirror. You have the exact same thing. I'm not showing I mean, you see the side of my butt, but I'm not showing my girls or my other girl, you know, and there's something explicit about the picture, but people lost their effing minds. They did, and I'm like, why is the human body such a nasty thing to you? Why do you have such a problem with the human body?
At the end of the day, Mama, at the end of the day, even if someone thought that was just obscene, human body obscene, don't go to your Instagram then.
Exactly.
Hello?
Why are you following me then?
Yeah.
Why are you following me?
Don't go look at it if you're going to get offended.
What bothers me about people is that they project their insecurities onto you, and if something bothers them about themselves, they're gonna find it in someone else and kind of pick at it. You know, there's a lot of projection in the world. If you're not hurting anybody else, why is it your business? I always say that. You know what I mean?
So what do you consider vulgar?
What I consider vulgar, I think, especially like around young children, if you're being hypersexual, if you're being, because the thing is, at least with me with children, like, they're kids. Let them be kids.
It's a choice again.
It's a choice, you know what I mean? That's the thing. I think As adults, we need to be grown-ups. But when it comes to kids, don't curse in front of them. Don't be like talking sexually explicit things in front of children. That's where I draw the line. But my Instagram is not for kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't come on my Instagram expecting things for children. You know what I'm saying? So that's vulgar to me.
Yeah, and women, they don't have, the kids don't have that choice. They have parents to make that choice for them.
Exactly. So
It's hard.
I mean,
All right.